Hey everyone, it's Kristen, and I just wanted to do a quick check-in for the Inspired Oracles Challenge. March has a theme of women, and that's was inspired by Women's History Month, which is March. And I just wanted to show you a couple of decks that I've created based on that theme that I've actually already created, just to give you some ideas and a little bit of inspiration. So this is a deck I created a few years ago for Black History Month, and I wanted to do a deck of Black female icons, and this one is based on tarot, so it's just the tarot majors. So you can see that I've used like the Lovers, the Devil, Judgment, Justice, the Sun, Strength. I changed a couple of them. I changed Temperance to Art, for example, and Death to Immortality. So this was all based on a, again, a Major Arcana tarot deck. Here are the other cards that are in the deck. And this one, I just wanted to, just to show you as an example of an oracle. I don't think I have any oracles that are based on this theme that are not cards. But it's something that, that you could do based on a tarot theme if you're very familiar with tarot. And 22 cards is much easier to do than 78 cards. So, just taking like maybe a tarot as an example, you could do a deck of 22 cards. And I always, look at the oracle in terms of what's the system of interpretation. So in this case, we're using tarot as the system of interpretation. And with that, you just have to figure out who goes where. You have to think about how would you look at these women in terms of the tarot archetypes? And of course, that would be completely up to you. I always say that the oracle is always reflecting you first. And so you can see your own personal archetypes and how they're expressed in the deck. So tarot is a really great way to think about making a deck. So, and when I use the word oracle, I don't necessarily mean like an oracle deck. To me, if we look at oracles as a larger heading, tarot is an oracle. So when I refer to oracles, I'm talking about all types of oracles. So if you already understand tarot, or even if you're studying it, I think it's a really great way to study, is to make an oracle and use that process to really study and go deeper with archetypes. So that was a deck I made several years ago, and then more recently I made another deck which really was not intended to be an oracle. I'm just going to show you. This is an altar triptych based on Eartha Kitt, and it was really just a way for me to work on my doodles. So that's really how it started. It was just doodling, and I was too lazy to doodle the entire space, so I thought, well, if I put something in the middle of the doodles, I won't have to doodle everything, because it got exhausting very quickly. This is an altar triptych, so it sets up like this. You can put your cards down or set your altar tools and materials here. And we do this in my Mystic Crafts class. So if you're not in that class, why aren't you? So that's a really neat, way to make a kind of a portable altar. And after I did that one, I kept making other ones, but I was just doing the centerpiece. And then I could just set this on a little altar. So you can see I did quite a few, and I made the mistake of showing it to a friend, and she was like, oh my gosh, I want, I would love to have those images. And so everything that I do, I make cards out of them. If you know me, you already know this. And so I said, well, I'll make a deck of cards and I'll give you a deck of cards. So she's not a reader or anything like that. She doesn't do divination. So it really wasn't intended to be a deck for divination. It was really just a deck to really celebrate these different women. And that's still what it is. So let me show you the deck. Now, I can turn this into an oracle. I'm just going to lay out some of the cards. But I always ask the question, is it art or is it an oracle? And I think that's a really important question to ask. Are you making like oracle cards, or are you just making artist trading cards? With this one, like I said, the main goal was just making art, practicing my doodles, and then it became something that I gave to my friend for her birthday and Christmas, like as a gift. You can see that the cards just have the people's names on them, so they don't have a keyword or anything like that. They're not connected to tarot. I didn't try to match them up with the tarot cards or anything. So all we have to go on is just their names. And that's why I say to me, it's not quite an oracle yet. I'd have to do some work with it in order for it to be an oracle. I would really have to go through and make connections with each person and find out more about them and maybe create some keywords, even if I don't ever write them here, to have them in some sort of guidebook, and think about what themes did each women have in terms of their lives, and how I could tie that into some keywords, for example. And so right now, and I actually have done readings with this, but what I did, I've just pulled cards for people on my Insta stories once, and I basically told them to go and research. And that information, I call it like, doing Google divination. So you go and you Google the person, and whatever comes up, whatever articles show up, you read a few of the phrases there, and there's a really important message for you. So I think that, that works for right now. But if I was to really turn this into an oracle, I definitely have to make a guidebook and go a little bit more into depth and do some research on their backstories, and then turn that information into, or translate that into meaning, to some type of symbolism. Now, I wasn't really planning to do, since I just finished this one just last year, I wasn't planning to do another women-themed oracle, but I was on a website called freemix.com, and I really like just looking at the images there, and I wound up making the beginnings of a deck. So this is this has not been cut out yet. I've just laminated the page so far, but this is 18 cards. It's already set up. I already had it in a I already had like the 18 placements here from my Cupid cards template. So I just created this. I did this actually in Google Slides. I use Google Slides a lot. So if I'm not on my iPad making things, I am usually on Google Slides. And for anything that I'm printing out directly on my printer, I usually use the Google Slides. So freemix.com is a collage making site. If you go to the cutouts library, you will just see a whole bunch of different images, okay? And what I really like about the cutouts library is that you'll also see cutouts of all of these different phrases, like from books, book titles and things like that. And I also like that a lot of it is older stuff, it's retro, vintage. And so you can get a lot of really neat images and words. And so I just kind of paired them together. I think it's really funny and kind of sad sometimes when you look through a lot of like older images and you see how women are represented. It's kind of ridiculous. So I wanted to make it kind of tongue-in-cheek, that kind of ridiculousness that you see in the different ways that we've been represented and portrayed. And so for me, I was just kind of playing around with this. A lot of times I just start playing and then it becomes a deck. So I will probably continue because I do like what I have so far. I'm going to cut these out. The cards are going to be pretty small. So if you look at the card that I just showed you, you can see that basically four of these are going to make one like standard tarot card size. So this is going to be a very mini deck. I did want it to be miniature because a lot of the images on Freemix, they come from all different sources. You know, this isn't something I could sell or, you know, do anything other than something personal with. But a lot of the images are small, they're pixelated. And so I knew from that I didn't want to create a card that was this size, or else I'd have to change the resolution on all the images and do all that kind of work, which I really didn't want to do. I really just wanted to play around with this and see what it looked like. And it actually, it printed a lot better than I thought it would. I just have a really inexpensive DeskJet printer, so the colors and everything printed out very well. So my next step is to cut everything out, and then I'll probably round the corners on this as well. And I'm not sure yet whether I'm definitely going to do another sheet, so I'll have 18 more, but I may even do 3 sheets total and have 54 cards, which will be really fun. And like I said, I'm just doing this on my printer, just a DIY. So I just thought I would share this with you. This is something that I've started, and if and when it gets finished, I will show you the finished project. Now, I would love to see what you're doing with this month's theme. You can share any posts or videos on Instagram using the hashtag Inspired Oracles Challenge. And if you do a YouTube video, I'd love to share it in my playlist. So tag me or somehow let me know about your YouTube video, and I will be happy to add it to this playlist.